So I'm going to do my best Andy Rooney impersonation. So don't you just hate receiving those unsolicited, cheery emails like the one I received the other day? Hey, Paul, 2023 has been a great year. Let's make it even better in 24. Delete, send to spam file, excuse me. So looking back on 2023, the issues that immediately come to mind: the election of a charismatic new governor, the expansion of the county council from 9 members to 11, the unrest that many parents have over our public schools given their social policies and also failing test scores, the growing transportation issues, and the environmental activism of the county government. Boy, this has been a very busy year. So, Mike, we're going to lead off with you. I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Governor Wes Moore came into office, a lot of momentum, a lot of political goodwill, a shiny suit of armor, and even people were whispering that Moore should run for governor instead of President Biden. But as we wind down the year, the Baltimore Sun is beginning to chip away at Governor Moore's invincibility. My goodness, they're sniping about the Orioles lease, not to mention the budget problems that are there. So how do you rate Governor Moore's first year in office?
I think his first year was a good first year. I think he did a nice job of kind of framing a vision. I think he hired some really good people. And I think that he tried to set the right tone. And, the challenge is now that year's over. And the reality of some of the challenges that were looming off on the horizon the horizon's here. And so the challenge is going to be how, now that you put those good people in place, now that you understand how government operates, and you have figured out which levers to pull, can you pull those levers, and how does that work? And so I would say last year was a good year, but I don't know that it was a particularly hard year. I think the rubber's going to meet the road very quickly in January, and we're going to see just how good the governor really is.
So, Mark, the Baltimore Banner published a report yesterday that the state has a $761 million budget fall, and perhaps as much as $1.8 billion over the next year. Who's to blame for this? Is it the governor or is it the General Assembly?
Actually, I'm not even sure that either one of them. I mean, I think one of the challenges that the state has had, referencing what Mike said, is the can got kicked down the road because the availability of federal COVID money, which basically has taken time to be spent, and a strong surplus that was inherited from Governor Hogan. So the tough decisions that we'll be talking about in a minute or two essentially were deferred, and that's what the governor's going to have to wrestle with the coming budget.
So do you agree with Mike that he's done a good job this first year?
Well, I don't think he had the tough decisions. So he was able to avoid sort of the tough questions about how rapidly to fund Kerwin, or frankly at all. But I think the expectation is that, yes, it will be funded. The question is, how quickly can Kerwin be afforded by Maryland taxpayers?
So, Laurie, I'm going to let you wrap up the segment with your thoughts on the first year for Governor Moore.
Yeah, so no, I don't think he had a good year. I think that, 55% approve of him, while in a recent poll, while Hogan had a 77% approval rate. So he's not there, on par with Hogan at this point. But I think he's like a kid, a little toddler in the aisle of a grocery store where he wants that candy. And Bill Ferguson is the guy in the House who's saying, no, Wes, we can't do that. And we've seen that already with the Baltimore Orioles lease, which we can talk about another time, I guess.
Well, we're going to have to, because we're out of time for this segment.